when I first watched Game of the Thrones, like I genuinely thought this was based on history. In my opinion, Star Wars stuff is made for children.
Austin,
Yeah.
question for you today.
Hit me.
Does a non-serious genre of movie, film, TV require the same level of production for an audience to enjoy it?
On a scale of 1 to serious, how serious are we talking?
Let's say 1 is comedy, non-serious.
Okay.
10 is like high fantasy, House of the Dragon, serious.
Okay. Well, what kind of comedy then? Is it like The Hangover?
Yeah. Let's go with The
Hangover is
Hangover.
like a high level, I would say.
High level production for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, as an audience member, do you struggle watching a serious show if the production isn't as good? Probably yes.
Yeah.
But would that same principle apply to a non-serious show like Ricky's to Nikki or something on Amazon Prime?
Gonna say no. Okay, so maybe budgets are similar. Who knows? Maybe House of the Dragon was the exact same price as Ricky's to Nikki. Maybe Zac Efron's fee was $200 million.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
We don't know. But I feel like you hold a higher standard to a show like House of the Dragon
Agreed.
to like fully immerse you in its environment, in the entire story arc, than you would a normal comedy.
Okay, so now I'm going to throw you a curveball because we've got non-serious, okay, and like take us seriously high fantasy.
Okay.
On that scale of 1 to 10, where would you put Star Wars? Like, let's go the Star Wars shows, maybe not the Star Wars movies because they try to take themselves very seriously.
That's fine now.
But they still have fun along the way. I would rate the Star Wars movies at like a 7. The shows, I would rate them much lower on the serious scale. Like The Mandalorian season 1.
Yeah. The Mandalorian season 1 was like pivotal for virtual production use in the world, but it also had the most amount of virtual production errors or noticeable moments. Here's the thing that's really tough for me. I'm not a big Star Wars guy. I'm not.
I am.
I don't like Star Wars that much. Sorry.
It's okay.
I hope no one hates me for that.
Don't.
You know who will hate me?
Opinions exist.
Our editor will hate me.
Yeah, that's true. Alex, just put a TIE fighter, hit him in the face. Okay, where would you put it on the scale of 1 to 10? 1, not serious. 10, serious.
For The Mandalorian, maybe a 6. Here's the thing.
I think that's even high.
I feel like Star Wars TV shows, from the trailers I watch and the few episodes. Now, granted,
I've watched the shows.
okay, this is a great comparison then, because I have seen all of season 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian. I also watched season 1 of Boba Fett.
Okay.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
I don't know who that character is, but same thing.
Yeah,
But
Mandalorian season 2.5, you mean?
yeah. So anything that had virtual production, I try to watch and try to, immerse myself in. But in my opinion, Star Wars stuff is made for children. So for that reason, on a level of seriousness, I feel like some things can be a little less serious.
Okay. All right.
Was that a hot take?
I think, okay, well, no, I like where we're going here. Not that I agree with you, but I like where we're going here. I think that Star Wars, the thing about why people think that Star Wars is for kids sometimes is because it caters to all audiences.
It does. You're right. It's a very, that I can agree with. It is catered to more ages than House of the Dragon is.
Right.
So I feel like House of the Dragon is like potentially 25 plus or 20 plus.
Right. I'm not going to let my young kid, who I don't have one, but I wouldn't let my young child watch
House of the Dragon. Would you let any kid watch The Red Wedding?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. See, I might. Maybe my 14-year-old.
Okay. So now
I don't have a 14-year-old.
I think the reason why we think this is because on level 1 seriousness versus level 10 seriousness, let's say, level 10 seriousness, you can't have a moment during the Red Wedding where you go, oh, yeah, I'm out of it. This is how they shot it. I wish they would have done a little bit more. Like, it kind of looked shitty, you know?
Yeah.
It needs to be fully immersed. Whereas something like The Hangover, which was, for a comedy, extremely well produced. But if there was like some weird shot where an extra did some weird shit in the background, I wouldn't be affected.
Yeah.
It might play into it, actually.
I think maybe there's a part to that where serious TV shows, and when I say serious, I think we're thinking like shows where every episode feels like a movie because every episode is treated like it's a movie.
Right.
Does that make sense?
And has like real stakes
Yes.
and emotional connection
Yeah.
to you, the audience member.
Yeah.
That's what I
like.
mean.
I genuinely think you could watch House of the Dragon. Pick an episode. Pick an episode. You could watch it and you could probably understand what's going on. Maybe obviously you don't know where the family ties.
There's
connect.
a lot of cast members in that show.
But I do think you could watch one episode and be like, wow, I got a pretty good idea of what's happening. And that felt like I was watching some sort of dramatic 90-minute movie.
Right.
Right.
But could you imagine just randomly sending someone to watch House of the Dragon, like in the middle of the season? They're like, so, okay, well, hold on. They're siblings and they have children together. Their uncle and niece, and they have children together.
They got children together. And
This family.
And
that aside, what you're saying is anyone could watch that show and have like a visceral a human reaction to what they're seeing on stage. That's on screen. That's what serious to me means.
100%. That's a 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10 serious.
Yes.
Whereas
So-
maybe The Mandalorian or another Star Wars show or something like that. What's the new one that just came out?
Oh, The Acolyte.
Sure. Never heard of it. Now, something like that
The audience score rating right here.
is more episodic. You're just trying to like keep up with an overall arc, an overarching like storyline that's throughout the show.
Right.
Whereas, I love when TV shows have every episode is a very specific story arc to itself, but also has an arc that is adding to a main goal that's happening throughout the entire season.
Sure.
Several plot points and arcs, and I think that's just a matter of all shows being done well. But I do think, again, level of seriousness of a show affects the amount of CGI you can put into it.
I think it means the amount, like how believable it needs to be.
Right. I see.
Like imagine you're watching Dunkirk, okay? And then those like plane cabin shots, which like it was Christopher Nolan, so they probably somehow found a way to shoot it practically or something crazy.
I'm sure.
Something. Anyway, but if all of a sudden you just saw like the background wasn't moving as fast because they shot it on virtual and like Tom Hardy's flying a plane and he's kind of like this,
it might throw you off.
it would completely ruin like it doesn't matter what happens after that. It's like the James Bond old rear projection. Those movies can get away with it because those movies are larger than life.
Well, and they also didn't have anything back then to like make them.
They probably saw that in the edit room when they're actually cutting the clips together. And they thought to themselves like, you know what? Yeah, it doesn't look great, but it's James Bond. And they're all here. Everyone's here to have fun.
Which year are you talking about, James Bond?
Whoa, Sean Connery.
I guarantee you somebody went to the theater, saw that, and was like, holy fuck, this is
100%.
so realistic. Now,
100%.
think about like Mummy Returns or The Mummy. Like back then, watching that as like a kid or like teenager, you're like, wow, that CGI is mind blowing.
Put a video of The Rock right here.
Yeah. And then you go watch that now.
It's terrible.
The Rock doesn't even look real. He's not even real.
This is interesting. This is a perfect case, the James Bond case. So we have the early movies with Sean Connery, right? Where it doesn't take itself seriously. Like you think about Sean Connery playing golf against Goldfinger. It's funny. Like they're really good.
It's also not a drama per se.
No,
it's like
then we cut to the early 2000s, 2000 whatever, mid 2000s. Daniel Craig, James Bond.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if all of a sudden in the middle of a Daniel Craig James Bond, they had a bad rear projection chase? It would ruin everything.
That's actually a valid point for sure. Like it would just take you right out.
100%.
But I think that also goes back to the point I made about every episode feeling like a movie, because everyone on a film, editor, director, writer, the whole point is to keep you fully immersed. I feel like there are movies you watch, and in my mind, when I go see a movie nowadays, if I have the slight urge to check my phone, I'm out. Like I can tell this movie's just not immersing me. But there are times where, like, again, and
Gen Z tendencies.
Here's a take that people might disagree with me on. When I first went and saw The Wolf of Wall Street, 3 hours? I think the one time I had the urge to check my phone, I did check the time, and I was 2 hours and 40 minutes into the movie. That's how long I was fully immersed in the story.
Right.
And I feel like
the seriousness of that movie doesn't take itself seriously.
Yeah.
But the level of production is like a 10.
Yeah. Well, there's a level of like immersiveness that they want you to feel in a movie that they put into a show that's an hour long for like the House of the Dragon. I feel like there's a same level of like writing, directing.
But I will say, to play devil's advocate, if there was a shot, let's say the rear projection example in Wolf of Wall Street where he's driving his Lamborghini, clearly it's not moving very well, but he's talking straight to the camera like he does. He narrates the whole time. I would be like, this fits with the entire movie because it doesn't take itself so seriously. It's larger than life.
Depends. Like, I feel like the one thing is one bad CGI shot will dictate what every person says about your movie online.
100%.
And it's unfortunate, but like some sort of reviewer from like on Rotten Tomatoes will be like, oh, the CGI and visual effects was just garbage in the movie. And it's one scene, one bad rear projection shot in the middle of the movie that fully dictated why they thought that about it.
Honestly, bring back bad rear projection for fun.
I'm in.
For fun.
You know what? Sure. You can make it look better now, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the other side of it, too, is that rear projection back then did not have camera tracking in it. So, I mean, you could do rear projection now, which is already done several times, but with camera tracking, and that would sell the effect of rear projection.
Okay.
To a degree. To a degree.
Yeah.
You disagree.
No, I agree with you. Like, are you saying that this is like tracked through Unreal and Unreal is being projected on a wall behind?
It would be a little more complex to set up, but you could do it. Same sort of setup. Yeah.
Might as well just get yourself an LED wall. Real virtual production.
Yeah.
Real.
$50 projector versus multi-million-dollar LEDs.
Just go buy those LEDs already.
Get your dad's credit card. Spend it.
That's right. House of the Dragon, season 1 for sure. I don't know about season 2. I haven't done any research on it. Season 1 used virtual. Okay.
There was a lot of
virtual production. It looked fantastic.
Wouldn't even know it was there.
Wouldn't know it was there. And that's what I'm talking about is key because there are also scenes in the new Star Wars show where they use a lot of virtual where I know just based on my first time watch that what I'm seeing is virtual production on an LED wall. I know that. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter to me there because Star Wars is outside of the realm of reality. Whereas I take something like House of the Dragon and I put it in a medieval historical context in my mind.
Yeah. Honest to God, I'm going to sound stupid here.
But dragons, I guess. But other than that,
yeah. When I first watched Game of Thrones, like I just dove into it, watching it with friends, and I did not know anything about the backstory of anything.
Okay.
Genuinely thought this was based on history.
Right.
Like, I was convinced. 100%. It was only the first episode, okay? So like, it's not like there was White Walkers and dragons in the first episode, okay?
Right,
I don't know.
Right.
But I was convinced that it was based somewhat on history. So I feel like the fact that there's that historical element, it makes sure the viewer has to be more cognizant of the fact that maybe this is real life and we cannot break it with shitty VFX.
Yes.
Right? Not saying there aren't shitty VFX in Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, but...
Yeah, they were pretty good until the last season when they decided that they wanted to start working on Star Wars shows.
But that's exactly it. House of the Dragon is something where if I wouldn't have told you that like that specific scene on the bridge from season 1 was like it was on an LED wall,
wouldn't have known.
You would never have known because they blended it so well. Mm-hmm. But there are times where I'm watching season 1 of The Mandalorian, and when they turn the camera in a specific way, I can see the moray on the screen. You can see the moray on the LED, and I'm like, oh my God.
Ooh.
Right? So it's like, but when you think about it, will a child watch that and say,
absolutely
look
not.
at that moray?
Absolutely not.
Exactly. Which proves my point that Star Wars is for children sometimes. You know?
Listen, you're just not like a fantasy. You're not a high fantasy guy. You're not.
What are you talking about? I literally love House of the Dragon.
No, you don't.
I do. I love House of the Dragon.
That is the first time I've heard you say that, but I love that.
I love House of the Dragon.
But you don't like space stuff.
I love space stuff. Just not Star Wars.
Okay. What about all the Marvel movies? Got him. Got him.
Marvel. I love Guardians of the Galaxy.
He doesn't like superhero movies.
Okay. Marvel movies are a whole different ballgame. They make them for money. I don't know. They're for children.
No comment.
No comment. Love House of the Dragon. Love Game of Thrones. There's also another level of North American viewers and European viewers. Maybe I'm totally wrong off base.
No,
I think
I'm in. Let's go.
Especially North American have a higher standard for what is good VFX.
This is a great, actually, hold on. This is great because let's talk TV shows for a minute. You were just in South Korea.
Yes.
Okay. They film TV shows in like 2 weeks.
They do. They churn out TV shows.
Yeah.
And they're great.
Because it's so much more about character.
100%.
Than like, let's make the VFX amazing. Because
exactly.
Maybe they just have better writing? I don't know.
I don't know.
You told me that someone at a studio in Korea said, yeah, our audience doesn't care as much about quality of like final pixel as they do character development.
Yeah. I think in Korea, more than North America, they create content and put out content so much faster than anywhere else in the world. Maybe Bollywood might beat them on that. I don't know.
Oh, true.
But there's just a higher level, I think, of standard for CGI that North Americans want to see. Whereas, in Korea, people are able to look past that, especially when it comes to the VFX side of it, and be like, wow, I'm still fully immersed, So
I like that. Like my favorite movies, you know this about me, my favorite movies are Guy Ritchie movies because they're larger than life and I can watch it, be fully immersed and know that none of this is real. It's all bullshit. It's all for fun. It reminds me of It's a Movie.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And I feel like...
And that sounds dumb, but you probably know what I'm saying, right? End of the podcast. That would actually be so funny if that's the end.
Does genre, level of seriousness of a TV series or movie, and country affect the level of
production required
for CGI or VFX or
for
anything?
The audience to enjoy it?
Yes, and be fully immersed.
Answer on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yes. There you have it.